spent a lot of time or alluded to Buffett's skill sort of as a manager, whether it's through special situations, sort of like debt workouts, and a lot of, and you can gain outsized returns from that. But I was wondering how you would respond to Andrea Frassini and some of the other people at AQR who wrote a paper a few years ago discussing sort of where does Buffett's performance come from, why he had a 0.76 alpha, why exactly was he able to gain such high returns at a relatively low volatility. And so they had done the analysis, and so they looked, one, at his skill as like a stock selection, and two, his skill as like a manager in these type of situations. And he concluded that it was due to, it was actually the former, his stock selection ability, whether it was being able to pick low beta stocks, companies with who had high quality, just very consistent growth, high payout ratios, rather than his ability as a manager to manage like private companies, to navigate corporate restructuring and such. And I even believe they said they also attributed partly to his high leverage. Mm-hmm. So they had leverage of 1.6 to 1. And so this is calculating leverage as assets minus excess cash divided by equity, rather than how you did it with, I think you were mentioning like 3 turns, right? And that's using EBITDA as a multiple. And so, so basically, the central point is that they did a statistical analysis, and they're able to account for like his high alpha due to his ability as a stock selection, rather than his ability to actually have some of these like debt workouts, merger arb, or any of these other, I guess, more exclusive methods.
No, okay, yeah, great question. And just to be clear, when we talk about leverage, we're talking about it on the same basis, right? So the amount of assets that it's being controlled by a given amount of equity, right? So if we've got a 6% return and we lever it 3 times, that means we're controlling 3 times as much assets with a given amount of equity, right? And that's what gives you your 18%. And there wasn't a lot of risk arb in the Berkshire years. There was some, and he wrote about it in the 70s. But the main thrust of your point is absolutely accurate, right? I mean, the qualities of the businesses that he has been involved in have been rather consistent over time. It's financials, it's branded consumer companies, and others where he feels like he has a view on what the business is likely to earn 10 years from now, with not a lot of or I should say, with what he thinks is a high degree of certainty, that he can know what the business is going to look like in the future. And so those kind of things have factors associated with them. So whether it's volatility or the actual underlying volatility of the business itself, et cetera. And then the leverage factor is a huge piece, right? Because not only did he have leverage from the float of the insurance company, which, by the way, was purchased for Berkshire while it was a portfolio holding of the partnership, but also through the leverage of the deferred tax liability associated with the unrealized capital gains on the securities portfolio. So, we can talk about, Buffett and avoiding leverage, but really what he's talking about is leverage that has a due date, or leverage that has a coupon associated with it, a principal payment, so an interest payment associated with it. So, float, when underwritten properly, tends to come for Berkshire at a near free cost, and of course, the deferred tax liabilities don't bear interest either. So I think you're right. But I would also say that, I think it's easy. It's not easy, but, you can do the statistical analysis and run the regressions and see what the factors were that led to the success. There's a reason why, there's one Warren Buffett, right? So I don't know if I would necessarily think that we could just do a quant model and replicate Buffett if we started today with the same factors.
Well, so part of their argument is it's not like the private companies are. Sorry. Let
me address that. Okay, so I agree with you there as well, and I don't think Buffett wanted to ever get active, right? Nor did he think it was his skill set to get active. I don't think today he wants to be active. You know, the managers don't call, you know, into Buffett once a month to give the numbers and say, you know, here's what I'm doing, what do you think? And Buffett says, okay, well, you know, you should get your working capital down, or, you know, you've got too many fixed assets or whatever. He says, you know, give me great managers and then let them run their business, right? And that's sort of his MO now, right? So he's not really claiming to be, you know, a great cast iron forger. So he's going to buy precision cast parts. You know, the most recent deal he did, $40 billion or so. You know, it's not that he bought the manager and the company. So I think he has a lot more to say about how the capital gets allocated than how the business is run. And that's really where he adds the value.
If you look